I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
Today, we'll have Karla's mom and daughter Disney World trip. That's coming up on this episode 482 of WDW Prep To Go. Hello and welcome to WDW Prep To Go, where we talk strategy and ideas and have lots and lots of trip reports for people planning their Disney World trips. I am your host, Shannon Albert from WDWPrepSchool.com. Thank you for being here for episode 482. As you all know, I like having all different kinds of trips, and this one is a mom who recently traveled with her daughter because she likes taking her kids one-on-one, which is something I highly recommend and love hearing about. Before we get into that, a reminder to follow on social media, specifically Instagram and Facebook, I guess, where we post the pictures of the guests. So somebody recently commented on Instagram that they love seeing the pictures, and I guess they didn't realize that they get posted, and maybe I haven't mentioned it. So every guest sends in a batch of photos from their trip, and we use them on the website where we list the podcast, but we also post them on Instagram and on Facebook when we promote the episode. So if you ever want to see who you're listening to, you can do it that way, or you can watch the video on Patreon, where the video version of the episodes is available. We also do Q&As every Tuesday on Instagram. So if you would like to join, I would love to talk to you there and make this more of a two-way street. I think that is it for the intro. Here are my chats with Karla. Welcome to the podcast, Karla.
Hello. Excited to be here.
We're talking on Friday, September 12th, and I understand you're headed to Disney World.
Yep. We're going down on the morning of Saturday, September 20th, and we are there for 4 days.
Okay, September 20th to the 23rd or 24th?
Yep, 23rd.
Okay. Who's we?
Me and my 6.5-year-old daughter, Amelia.
Who's not a first-timer.
She is not a first-timer. This is her 4th time at a Disney property. She's been to Disney World as like a 2-year-old that doesn't remember anything, and she went as a 4-year-old, and then we just did Disneyland Paris in April. But this is her first time that she's like ready to ride some of the big kid rides in her mind.
In her mind, does that mean that she's not going to be doing all the big rides?
She is not. No, we will probably be more focused on Princess Bingo than a lot of the big kid rides.
Okay.
And she's not my adrenaline junkie child.
And are you guys flying?
Yes, we're going to fly down on Delta at 7 a.m. on September 20th. So we should be on the ground by like 9:45. Yay, Delta Sky Miles. So our flights were covered on Sky Miles, which is great. And we are staying at All Star Music.
Okay. And is that's a regular room, not a suite?
No, just a regular room, just the two of us. I've never even been on an All Star property before.
That was going to be my next question. If you had been to an All Star.
No, we've done Pop, we've done Coronado Springs. I've stayed at like Port Orleans for business conferences, but because this was just her and I, and she doesn't care, and the child thinks that she's going to be Taylor Swift when she grows up and likes to sing, I figured let's save a few dollars, and we're not going to be in the room very much. So if this was going to be a resort focused stay, maybe we wouldn't, but I figured let's try it out, see what happens.
Yeah. It took me a while to stay at the Values, and I ended up thinking they were really fun. So why not? How are you getting from Orlando Airport to All Star Music?
We'll probably just take a Lyft. New Yorkers, we're very comfortable in ride shares.
Mm-hmm.
And I mostly want to do that because timing is relatively important to me, because our plan for that day is to go to Typhoon Lagoon.
Okay. Using that water park ticket.
Yeah, I've never done that before. Like in all the times I've been on property, I never would have taken the time to go to a water park. So I thought this was a really cool way to check it out for free,
Yeah. It's hard to pass it up when you don't have
right?
to pay extra for it.
Yeah.
And does your daughter tend to like water parks or swimming and that kind of thing?
Yeah, she does. And when I've been at other places, she likes just being in the pool. And so the idea that there's like a lazy river we could go on, like she's not going to be the child to want to go on the big like slides, but just to get to play in the splash pads, like she'd have a blast. So I have no idea how long we'll end up being there, but even for a couple of hours, like it will be a core memory type of thing for her. And she'll get a kick out of getting to do something special that her big sister hasn't done. So, yeah.
Yes. And so speaking of big sister, this is just you and your younger daughter. How
Mhm.
did this trip come to be with just the two of you?
So her big sister Anna got a solo trip when she was in kindergarten, but Amelia was really little and didn't really, know about it. Then I had so much fun with Anna in that January that I immediately came back and booked a trip for the three of us, for me and the two girls, that May. And my husband was like, I don't want to come. And I said, just because you don't want to come doesn't mean I'm not taking the kids. And so, but even then, she didn't really do that much. So anyway, the long story is that Anna recently last year got a free trip to Universal because a dear friend worked there and had like fast passes for free. And so I took Anna there for a couple of days. And then when I came back, Amelia said, Anna's a really good big sister, and she deserves a free trip. And also, I need a trip. And I said, okay, we can make this happen. And when I said, where would you like to go? Thinking a long weekend, she said, I would like to see this family and the castles in Scotland. And I said, we don't have family in Scotland. She said, okay, the castles then. And I said, all right, how about Cinderella's castle? And she said, okay, works too. So we're not going to Scotland. We are taking a solo trip, just her and I. And her big sister's gotten two. So this is kind of, fair.
What I'm hearing is that she's a negotiator, because if she had started with Disney World, you might have been able to negotiate her down to Six Flags or something. So she's
Yes.
like, let's start with Scotland. We'll work our way down.
Smart kid, right?
It is pretty smart. Watch out.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so on this arrival day, other than going to Typhoon Lagoon, do you have other plans?
Yes. So we have reservations at 1900 Park Fair for 6:30 p.m. She's never been to the Grand Floridian. Anna has been there for brunch, and just that collection of characters I thought would be really great for her. The girls a couple of years ago were Isabella and oh my gosh, who is the main character from Encanto?
Mirabelle?
Mirabelle. Yes, the girls were Mirabelle and Isabella. So, and she loves Jasmine, and so I know that Aladdin is there. So I said, great, let's go to 1900 Park Fair. And also, I have this vision that I've always wanted to sit on the beach at Poly and watch the fireworks. And the fireworks at night are at 9. So from a timing perspective, I think 6:30 is good because we don't have to rush. And then we could go hop on the monorail and go to Poly, check it out. She's never been there either. That said, it would be a very long day because the fireworks starting at 9. So I'm kind of keeping it flexible, but like I do have this vision of us sitting on the beach, eating Dole Whip and watching the fireworks. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
It'll depend how you're feeling that time of day, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
And I always ask how people get from resort to resort. Is it safe to assume you'll be doing things like Lyft a lot?
Probably yes, unless I can find a bus from our hotel that says it really depends on how long we stay at Typhoon Lagoon, because there is a scenario in which I could see us going straight from Typhoon Lagoon to the Grand Floridian, or I could see us going back to All Stars and either taking a bus to Magic Kingdom or taking a Lyft. Like, we'll play it by ear. I'm not overscheduling this trip.
Okay. So Sunday, September 21st.
Yeah. So we have 9:45 brunch reservations at the bake shop at the boardwalk. And then we're just going to chill in the pool at All Stars because we have tickets for the Halloween party that night. So it was like, let's go get brunch at 9:45 so we don't have to wake up the crack of dawn, eat, go kind of chill in the pool, recharge because Saturday is going to be a long day, and then get ready to go to Magic Kingdom. So we're waiting, when the gates open at 4:00. We don't have park tickets for that day. It's just party tickets.
So if you want to be there at 4:00 when it opens up, what are your priorities right at 4?
So because we don't have park tickets, our priorities will be to do Seven Dwarfs Mine Train because she has never done that. And she has said now her standard of rides is anything that is associated with a princess. So she would like to do Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and she would like to meet the princesses at Fairy Tale Hall before they leave at 5 p.m. And also, we've never done Enchanted Tales with Belle. So, because that wasn't open the last time we were there. So we'll see if that happens. But the goal is to do all of that before 5:30. And then I showed her the list of characters that we could meet. And her only priority was meeting Ariel and Eric. Because again, Princess Bingo. So we'll probably do like Journey to Little Mermaid and Teacups. And then Tiana's is her other one. So I'm going to try and get an individual lightning lane for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And then with Tiana's, because we'll be in costume, I'm hoping maybe we can hold Tiana's for later in the evening. But it's going to be hard to turn it down if it's like a 10-minute wait. We'll have to kind of play it by ear. I do have a map that I've
just don't sit at the front.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Sit in the back. She picked out our costumes a long time ago. She will be Glenda and I will be Elphaba. But
of course.
Right. I mean, again, the princess thing. I was like, it's not Disney, but we're going to let it slide. It's fine. You're 6.
I feel like the Venn diagram of Wicked and Disney Lovers is a big overlap.
Yes, it's pretty much a perfect circle. And then, but I also have like Disney or like Mickey Mouse pumpkin t-shirts. I was like, we might have to do a wardrobe change halfway through the day if it gets, rainy or super hot or whatever. Right now, the weather looks good, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a big focus on princessy things.
Princessy things. We've never done the Disney Junior Dance Party. So like, I'm sure we're going to do that. And then she also looked through all of the special snacks, and her one priority for snacks was the candy bowl ice cream sundae at Galactic Goodies. And I said, great, we can get that and sit and watch and participate in the Disney Junior Dance Party. And then I think we're going to have to I think our goal is to watch the parade from Frontierland, and so that we're not totally stuck up by the castle the whole time, and then work our way up to do to you and watch the Hocus Pocus show. So yeah, I don't think I would like to try and do all the earlier shows. I know they are more crowded, but also I just don't know how long this kid's going to be able to hang. So
yeah, that second parade is pretty late.
And I just feel like since we have park days the next 2 days, like if we can get everything done and then try and meet Mickey and Minnie after the fireworks, and then if she's still ready to go, let's go get more candy, because she is very excited at the prospect of trick-or-treating at Disney World. And her big sister is a little jealous and said, we have to bring back candy. But I'm trying to, since this is our only Magic Kingdom day, I wanted to try and get the rides that she cared about in before we worried about much anything else.
All right. So I'm going back to, you said Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah.
Was one of your priorities. Did you get a single pass lightning lane by chance?
We can't do it yet. I'm not eligible till Saturday.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we're too far out.
Right, unfortunately. So, but I have my alarm set for Saturday morning. So sometime between 4 and 6 is my goal.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was hoping.
She does not care. She doesn't care about Jack Skellington. Like we're not even going to try and do those lineups for characters in the beginning. The only thing that she wanted was, again, Ariel, and then I cared about Mickey and Minnie, but we can do that on our way out. That's fine.
Listen, if you don't want those really difficult characters, it frees up a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, okay. Monday, September 22nd.
Yes. All right. So Monday, we are going to Epcot, kind of whenever she wakes up. In a perfect world, I'd love to rope drop, but also we're hanging pretty late on Sunday night. So we have an 11:45 Accommodations reservation for brunch. And
because it's princessy.
It's princessy again. Like you're picking up a theme here.
I got I got
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah. I have a list of where every princess is at every time throughout the whole, like between at every park. I know where to find these guys. So the things that she loved Remy's when we were in Paris. So we're going to do that. Obviously, we have to go on Frozen. She was not old enough for Test Track. And so I'm hoping she wants to do it because I want to see what the new Test Track is like. And the Moana water display was not there the last time. And so we're going to go check out that. And she's also never done Soarin'. And so because that's not like a scary roller coaster and she's tall enough, I'm hoping she's game, but we'll see.
Well, there's a castle in it.
There
You could,
is.
yeah, that's a selling point. If
It
she
is.
has any fear, because I'm sure she won't be scared once she gets on it.
No, I don't think she will be either. And it'll be fun for her to get to see like the top of the Eiffel Tower in the show or like on the ride because we were just there. So it's interesting when I'm putting this list together because it's not like it's so different from what I think like you or I would be doing. Like there is no, none of the big rides, but it's what she likes.
But that's why we do these trip reports, though, because everyone has a different approach and a different priority. And I think it's interesting. Are you using lightning lanes on this day?
Yes, we'll be doing lightning lanes for Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. I'm just curious because that changes how, things work, obviously.
Right. I will be doing lightning lanes and standby skipper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Helpful to have some extra assistance booking lightning.
Yeah, just because I don't want to be on my phone the whole time. I'd like the focus to be on her. And when I've done the trips alone with her sister, it is so nice to like really have that connection time with your kid and be able to say yes to almost anything. So because we're going to Epcot during Food and Wine Festival, I didn't make any dinner plans. I was like, first of all, Horseshoe is a huge meal. You can get a lot of food out of that. And also I was like, I like the idea of just being able to stop at any of the booths that look interesting and eat. I got really excited by what's at the Belgium booth, but we'll see what she is excited about the most. And then I'd like to stay for fireworks at Epcot, but also we could go back to the hotel and chill and every night the All-Stars do s'mores in a movie. And I was like, there's something to be said for that as well. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a fun day. And then Tuesday, September 23rd, I think is your departure, but it sounds like you also have some park time.
Oh yeah. We are not flying out until like 8 p.m. So we are taking advantage of this day. So Tuesday, September 23rd, my plan is to rope drop Hollywood Studios so that we'll be there at 8:30. And the whole reason that we're going to Hollywood Studios is she keeps telling me she is big enough for Slinky Dog now. She's been on Slinky Dog before. She doesn't remember it and she hated it, but now she wants to go on it. So I said, okay, you want to do Slinky Dog? Let's make this happen, girl. So I think we're going to do Slinky Dog, the Frozen sing-along. She loves Toy Story Mania. She played the equivalent of that in Disneyland Paris like 6 times in a row. And then getting to see the Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After show, like that'll be fun because we haven't seen that. The Little Mermaid show wasn't open when we were there. And so then my questions are really if she'll do Rise with me because I like Rise and it's just a little drop. So we'll see. And then Mickey, Minnie's Runaway Railway. But also there's a lot of cool characters there that we haven't gotten to see before. Like we've never seen Mickey and Minnie in their Hollywood outfits. We've never gotten to see the new Ariel. We missed the Disney Junior Dance Party folks and like the Incredibles the last time we were at Hollywood Studios. And she loves all of those characters. So again, like we're not going to ever do Rock and Roller Coaster. I got dragged onto what's the elevator?
Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror. I got dragged onto it in Disneyland Paris 3 times and I wanted to cry every single time. So the joy of this child is she's not going to make me go on those kind of rides, but we can do all those other fun things and have a chance to go find the characters. And the only reservations I have for that day is a 2:15 at Oga's, just because it's fun. It's a good place to chill. I might need a cocktail by then.
Okay. 2:15 at Oga's.
At Oga's.
You think my computer wouldn't autocorrect it to Olga's after all these years, but I'm going to teach it.
Yeah.
2:15. And then I assume that your luggage will be held in bell services at your hotel.
Yeah. We're just going to take backpacks. Like we both just do like these awesome carry-on backpacks so that we're not worrying about a ton of stuff. Like we're only there for really 3 days. So yeah, we'll go back to the hotel, grab our bags, and then hop in a cab. And our flight is at 7:55. So we'll get back home like late on Tuesday night, but she doesn't have school on Wednesday anyway, which is why I felt like I could maximize our time that day.
Mm-hmm. What a fun opportunity to squeeze in a little trip one-on-one.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. I'm really excited. I'm hoping like September is usually reasonably quiet. I get that a significant portion of New York City will be down there actually that weekend, including turns out my boss will also be there with her daughters. But you know, it's not August, so it's hopefully not going to be quite so hot. And I haven't been to a party since I was pregnant with her big sister. I think it was 2015 was the last time I was at a Halloween party. So it'll be cool to do it with a kid as opposed to being pregnant.
Yeah. And you can ride
Very
more.
different.
You can ride more this time.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, have the best time. And
Thank
I
you.
hope everything goes fantastic. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
All right.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Welcome back from your trip, Karla.
Thank you. That was an epic trip.
Good. I'm glad to know that it went well, and I can't wait to walk through it. You and I are talking this time on Saturday, September 27th, so you've been back for 4 days.
Yeah.
Hopefully the details are still fresh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I'm finally physically recovered from it. It was a height of a trip, but it was good. Like possibly the best I've ever had, which feels like a little bit weird to say. Like I'm saying I like one kid more than the other, and that's not it. I think it's being able to do a one-on-one trip where you can put all of your energy focused on what that one kid likes. And now that I have been like a Disney adult for so long, I feel like I knew all the tricks. And so like, I don't think I could have asked for much more than what we had. It was great.
Okay, good. I can't wait to hear about it. Let's start on Saturday, September 20th, a week ago today.
Yeah. My gosh.
You arrived in Orlando and planned to take a lift to All-Star Music.
Yeah. So we did that. We landed at like 9:40 on Saturday morning, and we were able to get a lift right away and found out while we were on the way. I think that geo mapping is correct because on the way we found out our room was ready. And I was like, great. So we went to All-Star Music, and I didn't know anything about All-Star Music, and I didn't bother to look at like the different areas. And so, you know, in the option when it's like, you can pick your preferences, but also you can click have prioritized my room being ready. So I did that because I wanted to be able to drop their bags and get to Typhoon Lagoon as soon as possible. And so we did that. We actually got to the resort, and Amelia, we got to the resort and we were in room 6413, which means nothing to you unless you realize that that's in the country fair section, which is the farthest spot from Melody Hall. I think there were 3 rooms farther away from the front than us. We're New Yorkers. It's fine. We can walk. But it was like, whoa, that is a height.
It is. I'm looking at the map to refresh my memory. It is at the very back.
Very, very back.
The resort. I just did this. I started making YouTube videos again. And I just recorded this video of the worst thing about every resort because I just feel like every resort has one thing. And All-Star Music it is the shape of it because it goes,
Yes.
it goes
so narrow.
it's narrow.
Yeah.
And so if you're not in the first two buildings, you're kind of far away.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a hike, but the room itself was great. In fact, there were two like engineering guys in the room when we came in, and they're like, sorry, we were just fixing something. And I was like, cool, the room's good. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, cool, bye. So we threw our bags down. I was so glad that I had packed like my carry-on backpack with our stuff directly for Typhoon Lagoon. So I didn't have to open a single suitcase. It was like, throw them down, bail. Amelia hadn't eaten anything yet that day. So we popped into the food court and she got to pick out a chocolate chip muffin and a chocolate milk. And when I tried to pay, the cast member was like, welcome home. It's on us. I was like, okay, cool.
Wow.
Thanks. Love a little pixie dust right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to get us a lift because I just didn't see that a bus was coming to Typhoon Lagoon anytime soon. And a minivan popped up as actually like the fastest option. And I've never taken a minivan before. So I was like, sure, let's try this. My kid thought that was the coolest experience. She was so excited. She's like, Mom, it looks like Minnie Mouse. And I was like, huh? And our driver was Tommy, and he was great, just like chatting with her the whole time. So we tapped into Typhoon Lagoon before 11:30, which all things considered is great timing on the day.
That's amazing because you had just arrived that morning.
Yeah. Right? Like we were going. And so when you get there and you're not like rope dropping, obviously it's going to be a little harder to find chairs, especially ones in the shade. So we ended up walking a little bit farther back towards what turned out to be Misadventure Falls. And we just like found two chairs. They weren't even lounge chairs. I was like, I just need somewhere to throw our stuff down. And Misadventure Falls, which is like a big tube ride, was right there. And there wasn't much of a line. And so I was like, hey, girlfriend, do you want to go on this? And Amelia was like, sure. And it was basically a walk on for a for two people because they kept needing to like fill up the rafts. And
Do you have a history of working in restaurants?
I do.
Because
Yeah.
you just said 2 times.
Yeah, I realize that. Sorry.
No, that's
and so we did that right away and she loved it. And then she's like, I want to go in the wave pool. And I was like, okay. And she hated it.
Mhm.
And I had heard about the waves at Typhoon Lagoon. My other kid's soccer coach did the college program and was a lifeguard at Typhoon Lagoon. And she had warned me. And Amelia got knocked over with like one wave. And she was like, and we're done. And I was like, cool, let's go in the lazy river. And she's like, that's going to be boring. Shannon, I'm not kidding. I think we spent 3 hours in the lazy river. We just kept going round and round. And because they have like the floating chairs and inner tubes, and Amelia really just enjoyed putting on a life jacket and practicing swimming. And I was like, cool, let's do that. So we did that. I wrote down, she was freaking out after the wave pool. And I was like, okay, that's not our thing. Totally fine. And then I realized she hadn't really had any like real food besides a chocolate chip muffin that day. So she got a giant hot dog and a Coke Zero, and I got a Mickey pretzel. And that was by 12:30. And then I was an adult for a half a second and remembered to reapply sunblock to her. I will note I did not apply sunblock to my back, and I forgot my rash guard, and I have paid the price for it, and I am now peeling. But we put on sunblock again. We were back in the lazy river. And then finally by 3 o'clock, I was like, do you want to try any of the other rides here? And so we did the big and the small raft rides, but the slide ones where you just went straight down were not something she was interested in, which is fine. I was like, nope, we don't have to do that. But we did Misadventure Falls like 3 or 4 times. And then at 4:30, I was like, let's start getting ready to leave because our dinner reservation was at 6. And I knew that it was going to be like a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump to get there. So we took the bus from Typhoon Lagoon to Disney Springs. And then I didn't see a bus for the Grand Floridian there, but I saw one for the Contemporary. And I was like, aha, I have a plan. So we hopped on the bus for Contemporary, went over there, and I was like, cool, we'll just take the monorail around. And as we were going up to the monorail, she asked if we could stop in the gift shop. And I was like, sure. And she had a $25 gift card that she got to use. And I said, don't ever ask me to buy anything for you. This is your whatever you want, which was actually just points from my Disney credit card from years ago. And she was like kind of looking around, and I found Disney Parks Crocs, and I have never owned a pair of Crocs, and I'm constantly stealing my husband's to run to the garage. So that was what I bought myself on this trip. And I'm so in love with them. I was like
Mhm.
very excited. So then we got on the monorail and made it to the Grand Floridian. We got seated right away. So our reservation was at 6. I think we were seated at like 5:50. And I'm sorry. Yeah, 5:50. She was dressed in her jasmine like sundress, and she got to see Aladdin and Mirabelle and Cinderella and Tiana. Food was fantastic. I will say, I think she probably drank a little bit more pool water than we intended, because at the end of the meal, she looked at me and she's like, I'm going to be sick. And I went, oh boy. And so I asked the cast member, where's the closest restroom? And they pointed to like outside the front, and I'm running with her and we almost made it. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And so at that point I was thinking, we're just going to go back to the room and like chill, because we'd had a long day. And as we were going up the stairs towards where the monorail was, we passed a PhotoPass photographer, and he was doing like photo shoots up there near that gift shop. And she was like, I want to do that. And I was like, well, you feeling good? And she's like, yeah. And so we did that, and she like had a great time. And then she's like, okay, I'm better now. And I said, all right, so do you still want to go to watch the fireworks at Polly? And she said, well, yeah. Okay. So
Sometimes you just gotta get sick once and move on.
a rally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm taking her lead. Like, I would have been a little bummed, but like, it would have been fine. So we go over to Polly, and if you had asked me before this trip, like her top 5 to 10 favorite characters, Stitch would not have ever played into this. But apparently Stitch is like her new BFF. So we walked in to Polly, and they had this character, which is Stitch with let's see if we can see him here. He's holding a snow cone. Yeah.
For people on
And-
video, she's holding up the
Yeah.
Stitch.
Stitch with glasses and a snow cone. And she was completely in love. And she's like, oh, he has to come with me now. So that was her one thing. And then we went down to get Dole Whip, and they were playing the Lilo and Stitch movie. So she just popped a squat and like watched the Lilo and Stitch movie while I got Dole Whip. It was interesting. The person in charge of the Dole Whip, or that looked like he was in charge of the Dole Whip, was earning his ears. The amount of anxiety of the guests at the Poly that are trying to get their Dole Whip before the fireworks started, like it was intense. Thankfully, someone that had their ears already finally tagged in, and we like got it going. So we made it with 2 minutes to spare. We get our Dole Whip. I got Amelia. We got baby Stitch here. And so we went down to the beach. There weren't any chairs left, but there was like this one spot with like a gap in between some of the Adirondack chairs. And so she just sat down there. And then like halfway through it, these 2 ladies that had been sitting there got up and left. And the guy behind, like that was sitting next to them, was like, hey, come take their seats. So she sat on the chair with me, and we got to watch the end of the fireworks, and it was great. And then I called us a lift, and she probably fell asleep in the fire. So it was a pretty epic first day.
That's a really fun day. And I love
Yeah.
how it just kind of evolved in a fun way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the next day, which was Sunday, September 21st. And you were going to start the day at Cake Bake Shop.
Yes. So our reservation was at 9:45. I let Amelia sleep until 8:45 because we had a long night, long day and night the night before. And I knew we were doing the Halloween party. So I was like, let's give this kid some time to recover. So I let her sleep till 8:45. And then I got a lift because I didn't want a chance being late, but I knew that we would take like regular Disney transportation back afterwards because the timing was going to be less of a concern. So we got to the boardwalk in like 10 minutes, which was utterly shocking. We got there at 9:22. We were seated at 9:40 for 9:45 reservation. Our server was Colin. He was wonderful. Amelia got the chocolate chip waffles. I had the ham and rosemary quiche, and there were 0 bites left on either plate. I was just in Paris with the girls over spring break. This was the best quiche I've ever had. It was incredible. And like that with the salad was kind of the perfect meal to get me through the rest of the day. I didn't end up really eating anything the rest of the day, but it was fantastic.
So if it's the best quiche you've ever had, I assume you believe it's also worth the price.
Yes, 100%. Like it was. Now I will say like Amelia is a very interesting 6-year-old and a very self-aware and mature 6-year-old. I had no problem taking her there. The mom and dad sitting next to me with a 2-year-old felt like you could see they were visibly uncomfortable. I would not take a toddler there. I think it is a very like upscale place. It is very like white and pink and gold. And so if your kid is still in the developmental phase where throwing scrambled eggs is their thing, this is probably not going to make you feel comfortable taking them there. Cause like they actively like, and I had to say to her like, hey, you're doing great. It's fine. What he's doing is totally normal. And she's like, yeah, but still embarrassing. And I was like, I hear you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yes, I thought the price was worth it. And then Amelia had looked at the menu and really wanted the chocolate cake. And I was like, girlfriend, let's get this chocolate cake to take back because there was no room left in our tummies. And it is a large piece of cake. We worked on that piece of cake for the next 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very rich. It was very good. And it was huge. So then we left and we walked over and got on the Skyliner at Epcot and we took it to Hollywood Studios. And then we got on a bus at Hollywood Studios and there wasn't a bus going to All-Star Music, but there was one that we saw going to All-Star Movies and it was really hot. And so I was like, in retrospect, if my plan had been to keep us cool and off of our feet and like rested, maybe doing the circuitous route on the Skyliner wasn't the best plan, but it was like, it's fine. So we took the bus to All-Star Movies and then kind of meandered our way back to All-Star Music. There is not a direct path. I am sure we were walking places that we were not supposed to be walking, but we had a general idea. We're like, music is in the middle. We'll find it. And so we got back and Amelia kept saying she wanted to go watch Lilo and Stitch. So we played in the arcade for a few minutes. I gave her like a $5 card and she played for a few minutes. And then we went back and, we bought aloe because mommy was very sunburned. And she watched Lilo and Stitch in bed while I just took a nap. And it was great. And I'm so glad I took a nap because both of us were much more refreshed later. Also, I made a note that it was funny. I forgot to ask for a fork or a spoon for the cake. So we ate it with a coffee stirrer. That was like, we're going to get creative here. So our plan was to be in line for the Halloween party by 3:00 and we were successful at that. So good times.
All right. Where were you? Were you at Magic Kingdom 3:00? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah. So we left our room at 2:40 and we saw a mom and a girl about Amelia's age, like kind of taking pictures, like trying to do a selfie. And I will always walk up to a mom that I see doing that. And I'm like, hey, give me your phone. Let me take your picture. Because moms are never in the photos. And then the mom's name was Sarah. She's a Disney TA from Tennessee. Her little girl was Birdie. And Amelia and Birdie became best friends, like for this evening. So we were in the bus line by 2:45. We were at Magic Kingdom by 3:10. And the line started moving at 3:42. We had our wristbands by 3:46. So like that timing worked out great. We took some photos. We got in line for the teacups and then Sarah and little Birdie came up. And so they like joined us and we did that. We had a lightning lane for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at 4:00, which was great. And Amelia had never done that before. And we were on at 4:12 and off at 4:22. And she immediately was like, this is amazing. Can we do it again? And I said, yes, but later. Spoiler, we did not make it back. Oops. But then I looked and there was still the Enchanted Tales with Belle was going on and it was a 10-minute wait. And the last time we were there, it wasn't open. So we went over and did that. And she got to be the horse and I got to be one of the guards. And she loved it. It was such a cute experience. And we have the best pictures of her with Belle. So that was really fun. I had intended for us to do the princess meet and greet at like Fairy Tale Hall. But time just kind of gets away from you and it closed at 5. But also it was Cinderella and Tiana. And we had just seen Tiana at dinner the night before. And I think we saw Cinderella as well. So she was kind of like, we're good. We did the aerial ride. That was a walk on at 5. And then I realized something I had heard a couple of times from folks about the Halloween party is that all of the foods shuts down between like 6 and 7. And I was like, okay, I don't like, I knew she had not had any protein yet because all she had eaten was those chocolate chip pancakes or waffles. So this child loves hot dogs. I don't know why. It's her favorite thing in the world. So we mobile ordered a hot dog and a soda and an iced coffee for me from Friar's Nook. And we just sat and ate that for a few minutes, took a potty break, and then we went on the carousel because it was also a walk-on. And that was like something fun to get to do. We went over and did magic carpets at 5:54 and we're off by 5:59. And none of these were lightning lanes. The only lightning lane that I had for the day was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So like in terms of the speed of getting on the rides, that was great. Then we went over to do Tiana's. It was a posted 40-minute, but we were on at 6:31. So really like 21 minutes. We got off at 6:49. So the Halloween party has not technically started at this point. But we got to do trick-or-treating at the Horseshoe Inn. And then beforehand, she had looked at the treats that were available for the Halloween party. And there were 2 that she had really wanted. One of them was the pumpkin funnel cake. So we went and we got that. And I texted our new friend, Sarah, and I said, hey, we have a treat that Amelia would like to share. And also I have a great spot for the parade. Do you want to come bring your stuff here and then take the girls trick-or-treating? Because that's like the one downside of not having 2 adults is like, you can't save spot for the parade and go trick-or-treating. So I gave my child to a total stranger, but obviously as another Disney adult, she was perfectly safe. And so she took the girls trick-or-treating, and also sometimes children are easier in pairs. So we sat right in front of Hall of Presidents and it worked out beautifully. So parade ended and we kind of did the salmon swimming upstream. So everyone else was going towards the castle for the show. And we went with our new friends towards Tiana's because Amelia really liked that, which was so shocking. Because in the pre-trip, I said, she is not a ride kid. And this time, like the big drop, she's like, I love how that feels. And I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Let's go do this.
Listen, that can go one of 2 ways.
Yeah, 100%. But, and I guess it goes to the theory that your kids are only that age once. And also you don't always know what they're going to like. Cause I could have said, oh, you're not going to like it because she didn't in the past, but she's obviously changed in the last 2 years. So we did Tiana's and it was a posted 5-minute wait time. And that was great. So we were done that by 9:01.
So I like this. After the parade, you went to Tiana's and it was a 5-minute wait because
everyone else went the other way.
I think that's a great combo just because you are going upstream. And really, that's really what touring plans is about how to navigate against the crowds that you know are going to exist. So,
yes. You got to zag when everyone else is zagging.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we did that. And then we went trick-or-treating like right there by Big Thunder, or what was Big Thunder. We took a quick potty break for the girls. And then they wanted to go to Speedway, which if I never have to go on that attraction again, I will be perfectly happy. But we did that at 9:28 for a 10-minute.
It wasn't exactly close by.
No. Not. It was because our friends had a lightning lane for Tron. And so they were going that way anyway. And Speedway had a 10-minute wait. And so the girls were like, oh, we want to drive the cars. When we were in Paris in April, Amelia was too short to drive the car. And here she was allowed to, but she couldn't touch the brake. So I was doing that part, but she was driving the way a child drives, which is like this, and then didn't understand why we kept banging into things. And so she did not enjoy driving. We got lucky in that it wasn't super hot, but it was humid. And I had packed like Disney, just Halloween t-shirts and shorts. And so after the Speedway, she was like, can we change? And I was like, absolutely, please get us out of these ball dresses. So we did that, and we got her the other treat that she had really wanted was the candy bowl, like ice cream sundae. And my mistake was not going over all the ingredients with her because it was salted caramel ice cream with all these candy toppings. And we got it to take over to watch the fireworks from the bridge from Tomorrowland. And so she's kind of sitting on the floor eating it, and she just looks really sad. And I was like, girly pop, what's going on? Why do you look sad with your ice cream? And she said, I don't like the ice cream. And I was like, you don't like salted caramel ice cream? And she's like, no. And I was like, okay, you know what? I was like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll go back and we'll ask them if they can make it with vanilla. And she's like, but I don't want to waste your money. And I was like, boom, it is $7. Like, it is not worth ruining your memory of this because you had been so excited over $7. And so we went back and we had been chatting with the cast member that at the checkout the first time. And we came back and she's like, oh, what's going on, guys? And I was like, well, turns out we don't really like salted caramel ice cream. Can I buy one and have you make it with vanilla? And she's like, oh, I'll just go make it for you. Like, don't pay for another one. And I was like, thank you so much. And then she was so excited. Like, it just kind of turned her energy around. But also at this point, it's close to 11 o'clock and we have still had a long day. So at 10:51, she looked at me and she said, I'm turning into a cranky pants and I'm tired. Can we go back to the hotel now? And I said, sure. Like, not a problem.
If only all 6-year-olds could voice that.
I can't voice that. And I'm 44. Like, to have that level of self-awareness was like so interesting to me because she constantly surprises me. But I did ask her, like, are you so tired that we can't see Mickey and Minnie on the way out? Because that had been the one request I had. And she was like, no, we can do that. Okay, great. And it says it's a 20-minute line. So we got in line to see Mickey and Minnie exactly at 11. And at that point, it said it was a 20-minute posted wait. We get to the door to go in at 11:16. And that is when I realized, as we are inside the door, I was in the wrong line. Because we walk in and it's Jack and Sally. And she looked at me with this like look of horror. And she's like, get me out of here now. And I was like, okay, absolutely. And so I like had to bang on the door and the cast members came out and they're like, what happened? And I was like, so we were in the wrong line and that was supposed to be Mickey and Minnie and she's terrified. And like, it never occurred to me that it wasn't really posted on the inside. And I guess I missed it when we walked in. So the cast members are like, it's okay. Come with me. Come. And they like snuck us in like the quick way to see Mickey and Minnie. And then everything was fine. And we were on a bus back at 11:35. And as a true New Yorker, that child saw the bus trying to like close the door and she ran it down. And the cast members were like, you can't run after a bus. And she looks at it and she said, I've been doing it since I was 3. And I was like, I mean, actually, she has been. So we were on the bus back by 11:40. We walked into the resort at 11:57. And she was just like, just utterly collapsed. So
Yes, she had a long day because you took a nap, but she did not.
she didn't want to. And then it was interesting because the next day she was like, you said we could go back on Seven Doors Mine Train. And I was like, yeah, but you had all these other things that you wanted to do. You wanted to spend time with your new friend and you told me you were tired. So if you had wanted to stay, we could have, but it's okay, girlfriend. We had a really good night. And I feel really lucky because we went on that was a Sunday night and the Tuesday night party got rained out. So yeah, I was like, we had some sort of luck on our side to have it work out so beautifully for us.
Yeah, you got to do quite a bit.
We really did. Like, it's interesting because there are things that we didn't get to do that I think other people would have thought was a loss. Like, we didn't do Haunted Mansion. We didn't do Jungle. She didn't care. She didn't care about those things. I was like, fine, we do what you want.
You can't really do everything. I think that's really the point, is that you have to narrow it down to what you want to do, because you can't do everything. If we want to cover the Halloween parties thoroughly, we have 2 people go to 2 parties. Like, that's 4 different chances to get everything.
Yes.
So it's just not possible.
Yeah. And you're not even trying to do the normal rides. And this was her only Magic Kingdom day. So
You're right. You're right.
I think I forgot to mention, we did Astro Orbiter and I had never done that ride. And I will never do it again. It is like Dumbo on steroids. I think if you had to ask between that and Speedway, I'd pick Speedway. Oh my goodness. That was, never again. But she liked it.
It's so fast, but because it looks like Dumbo, it just seems so innocent.
100%. I was like, this should come with a warning. do not eat treats before going up there or you will feel nauseous. So yeah.
All right. So the next day was Monday, September 22nd, and you had plans at Epcot. But what time did you decide to get up that day?
I let her sleep as long as she wanted to. So we left the room at 8:31. So not quite as late as it could have been, but like we certainly missed the rope drop window. But again, like we were up so late and I didn't want to exhaust her. I let her grab a muffin from the food court because she saw their chocolate chip muffins. So we grabbed that. The bus pulled up 45 seconds after we got in line and we tapped into Epcot at 9:05. So given that I let her sleep until 8:15, like we were doing great. We had a 9:05 lightning lane for Nemo. So we did that right at 9:05, tapped in, and she was not interested in staying for the aquarium. She's totally fine. And then as soon as we did Nemo, we immediately got a lightning lane for Remy at 11 o'clock. And I was like, cool. She loved Remy. Test track had been down all morning. So I was like, fine. At 9:22, we got stuck on the bubble tube at Nemo. It was a very long time seeing the bubbles on Nemo. It was fine. And then we went over to the Moana World of Water and she had a blast. It is such a cute little exhibit. And I think she would have played there all day if I let her. So we just had a great time. It was very hot that day. And so I think that was kind of nice to cool off. I had offered her Turtle Talk with Crush. She wasn't interested. I did have a 10:30 lightning lane for Soarin'. And I was like, no, she really liked Tiana's last night. So maybe we're more into these things. And we were going to go over to do Living with the Land because it said there was a 10-minute wait at 9:30. And so we're walking over there. And by the time we got there, it was a 20-minute wait, but it was the same amount of time for Soarin'. And I was like, maybe we should go on Soarin' without using my lightning lane and see if she likes it. Because if she doesn't like it, I'll cancel it and get something else. But if she does, then I have lined up. And she loved it. So we got on Soarin' the first time at 10:06. Immediately, she was like, that was so fun. Can we go again? And so we did. We went on it with the lightning lane at 10:34. And both times I was like, we got a first timer here. And they put us in B1, which was great. So that was really fun. And then just as we were coming off, and I'm looking because next is supposed to be our Remy's lightning lane, Remy had converted to an anytime pass. And I was like, okay, it's down. We know this happens. It's fine. And so Standby Skipper booked Figment for us right away. And I was like, hey, maybe. And she was not super into it, but then she saw the Pixar movie short thing. So I canceled the Figment one. And I was really hoping that Standby Skipper would find something for Test Track for me. So we went into the Pixar Short Film Festival just before 11, and she loved it. She kept enjoying the shorts, asking for more of them. They were really cute. I didn't anticipate enjoying it as much, and Standby Skipper was able to get us a test track for 7:45 p.m., which was later than I wanted, but beggars are not going to be choosers. I kept trying to modify it. It wasn't going to happen. So I was like, okay, let it go. So then we have an 11:45 Accommodations brunch. So we checked into Accommodations at 11:30. We saw Asha on the way over and she got to give her a hug, but she wasn't doing pictures yet. We were seated at Accommodations right at 11:45, finished at 12:45. And the significant part of that meal was that Amelia tried bacon for the first time and discovered that she loved it. And she was like, is this what bacon tastes like all the time? Salty and crunchy? And I said, it is. And she said, can you make bacon like that for me at home? And I said, I can. I make it for your dad all the time. So that was awesome. I think she ate her weight in bacon that day.
I think Disney bacon hits differently. It's something about it. I don't generally like bacon, but I think I like Disney bacon.
Her dad did take her to McDonald's for breakfast today, and she had bacon there, and she reported that Disney's is better.
I have to agree. I think it's hard to replicate. I don't know why.
Yeah. So the one cool thing that we did at both 1900 Park Fair and Accommodations is when we went to Disneyland Paris, I had a print of the castle in Paris. that we had wanted to get the characters to sign there. And it's almost impossible to meet characters in Disneyland Paris because the lines are just so long. You can't get a fast pass. So I brought that poster with us, and I will have to send you a picture of it. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but not really. It's the filter. It's not going to show. I'll send you a picture of it, but it's the whole capsule. And we got every character that we saw to sign it. And we told all the characters, we went to your summer house in Paris and we didn't have a chance to get you to sign this. Can you sign it here? So now she has this really cool poster that shows the Disneyland Paris castle with all of the signatures that is framed that we can hang up in her room. So we did that at Horseshoe. And then after that, she was like, yeah, I'm good on princesses. And I was like, cool. Okay, then.
You had immersed her.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so no princess bingo. Got it. So, and the other thing that this child mentioned to me at brunch was, Mom, there are some kids here who have not been told no enough. And I said, I don't disagree with you, sweetheart. It was interesting to see her noticing the behavior of some other children. So we'll let that slide.
She might also notice that in adults.
Yes, but it was interesting to see the behavior of some children that were older than her, that she was like, oh, that's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we tapped into Frozen at 1:00 on the dot with our 1:00 lightning lane. And it was a 65-minute wait. And I am so glad that we had a lightning lane because, that's the time of day that kids are really starting to have a hard time. And it was very warm and patience was waning for quite a few people. But we got on right away and it was great. And so at this point, we get off and it's 1:30 and we went over because we knew Asha was going to be in line, was going to start seeing people at 2:00. So we were the very first people in line to see Asha. She got to give her a hug. And then she said, can we get some ice cream and go back to the hotel and go in the pool? And I said, that sounds like a great idea. I love that. Because we've kind of done everything that she had asked to do. So we got some vanilla soft serve at, the alliteration alley that you guys were talking about over there.
Yes,
there's the soft serve swirls or something there.
Yes, it's between the Imagination Pavilion and the World Showcase.
Yes, exactly. So I got her a cup of vanilla soft serve, and it's so hot that it's melting so quickly that I ran over to one of the booths and I asked them for a cup of free water. And I dumped out the water and I put her cup in there and I grabbed a straw and she drank it like a milkshake because it was just melting so fast. So
that is a downside to soft serve in the heat, I think.
Yeah.
The hard ice cream gives you a little bit more time.
Yeah. We went into Pin Traders to get some photos that didn't pop up from Mine Train worked out with the photo people there at Epcot. We walked out of the park at 2:40. It was 95 degrees and felt like 100 at that point. Yeah, it was brutal.
That's really hot.
And she was just melting. And then the bus showed up at 2:48. So I really appreciate that she could articulate, I'm hot and cranky. I want to go take a rest and I want to go to the pool. I was like, absolutely, but totally fine. What was interesting was I had anticipated we would go through the whole World Showcase to see princesses, and she just wasn't interested. And I was like, okay, great. So we were in the quiet pool by 3:20. The piano pool was right next to our room. And she was not interested in going up to the big pool that had all the loud music and talking. I think it was a little overwhelming for both of us at that point. So we played in the pool for close to an hour. We went back inside at 4:10, and then we both took a nap until 6:30. Which was kind of great. And I know that there's a strategy of going back and taking a break and going back at night. And I didn't think we would be doing that on this trip. And I'm so glad that she asked to, because when we woke up at 6:30, we were so refreshed and we were like, okay, let's do this. And so we were back on the bus at 7:14. We tapped into Epcot at 7:29. And then we got in line for test track right at 7:50. So our lightning lane was for 7:50. They didn't let us tap in until right then. The line was still all the way outside for lightning lane. And it was interesting because I was initially hoping we could do Remy's, that maybe Remy's had come back up. And it said Remy's was down. And I don't actually think it was down because while we were in line at Test Track, it said Test Track went down. Like I'm looking at the map and it's saying it's down. And Amelia's like, but Mom, I hear the cars going by. So I was like, oh, do they say it's down to get people to stop coming over? So is that your experience? Have you heard of that happening before?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. Because I think that they play with wait times in a similar way. So instead of marking it as down, they will mark it as really busy when it's not.
Okay.
But it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I had never heard of that before in all my years of listening to the podcast. And I was like, at one point I was a little anxious because I was like, did we come all the way back here? We waited in line because we were ultimately in line for close to 40 minutes. Yeah, 40 minutes. We tapped in at 7:50. We got off at 8:28. So we were there for 40 minutes between getting off the ride. And so I was like, is it really down? And then, when it goes down at that time, it's not coming back up. And it was really that they just didn't want anyone else there. Okay. So by 8:28, she's like, hey, I'm hungry again, which is fine. We'd only had, brunch at Horseshoe at 11:45. So we went into Connections Eatery, and my child that likes to live off of microwave chicken nuggets discovered that the chicken strips at Epcot were delicious and she loved them. And I had the French onion burger, which was also surprisingly good, which okay, cool. And then we stepped out into the park area. I forget what it's called, where the new garden area, in the center. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And for a hot second to watch 1 minute of fireworks. And she kind of looked at me and she's like, fireworks again? And I was like, okay, understood. So we got photos with one of the photopass photographers by the ball. And we walked out of the park at 9:13. And the good news was she still had some energy in her. So that still told me that taking a nap was a really good call. And then we got to the bus stop at fireworks were ending. So we kind of beat the crowd. And I would always rather be at the front of the line. And we were back at All-Star Music by 9:42. So that was really good. And then I showered us both. I had us all packed by 10:30 and we were sitting in bed and eating chocolate cake.
Because it was 3 days.
It is a very large piece of cake. Yeah. Spoiler, we never ended up finishing the cake, despite our best efforts. Yeah.
With two people. All right.
Yeah.
The next day was your last day, and it was Tuesday, September 23rd. You have plans to rope drop Hollywood Studios.
This was the most effective day I've ever had in Disney Park, and I was not there the whole day. It was absolutely incredible. All the stars aligned for us. It was awesome. So I called Bell Services the night before, and I said, if we're checking out tomorrow and I'm trying to rope drop a park, what do I do with my bags? And she said, if you call us in the morning, we'll come pick up your bags for you from your room. You don't have to be here. And I was like, cool, love that idea. So I called them at 6:55 and said, hey, my bags are ready. And she's like, oh, okay, well, my morning team isn't on yet, but we will be in 5 minutes. And I said, I'm not coming back till 4. Get them whenever. I don't care. And so we left the room just at 7 o'clock on the dot. And Amelia looked at me and she's like, Mom, it is still dark outside. The moon is still awake. Why are we out here? And I said, I promise there is a plan. Just have some faith. And Mom, we stopped by the food court where I told her she could get whatever she wanted for breakfast. And she picked out a Mickey brownie because she is a 6-year-old. We were in line by 7:09. We got on the first bus, which I know from listening to you for a very long time, that is clutch. We were on the first bus and there were a lot of people that looked like they had been sitting there for a while. So that first bus came at 7:20. So I was like, oof, we did good getting here when we did. We got to Hollywood Studios at 7:33. We were through security and in line at 7:40. And we were probably in the first 20 people in line for Slinky Dog at 8:03. So
that is how you do it.
Heck yeah. And that is why Mommy made you walk out the door when the sun was still asleep. And that was a change because the last time I was in the park, they held you until even maybe 7:45, to actually let us go through the tap styles. And so the fact that we were already in line when they started loading, before early entry was supposed to happen. So we got on the ride at 8:11. It's the second train of the day that we did. She loved it. and immediately was like, let's go again. And I said to her, it's going to be a longer wait, but it's still the fastest wait we're going to have all day. So let's do it. So by 8:38, we had already done Slinky Dog twice. And I was like, we are 8 minutes into early entry. Like, this is great.
That's really fun.
We had a quick potty break. I had a minor finger surgery emergency. Somehow I broke my fingernail in half on Slinky Dog. And so it kind of looks like a quarter of a pie is missing from my fingernail. And I decided that was not the place to do surgery. And I taped it back on. And that's why we carry Band-Aids in our park bag at all times. And she loves Toy Story Mania. She did it multiple times in Paris. So we did that at 8:50. It got on that at 9:05. It was posted 45. We were off at 9:15. So like, again, wait times super fast. We then ran up to do Mickey and Minnie's. We didn't have a fast pass for it, but it was a posted 35-minute wait. We got in line at 9:21 and in the pre-show at 9:38. So not even 20 minutes. And we were off at 9:54. And this is when things got fun, because this is when all of my lightning lanes worked out in my favor. So we had a fast pass for Toy Story Mania again, which was Midway Mania. And now they have changed the name sometimes, but not all the time. So it's a little confusing. But we tapped into Midway Mania with our fast pass at 10. We were on at 10:03. Then immediately Standby Skipper picked up Lightning Lane at 10:45 for Millennium Falcon. Okay, cool. Wasn't even considering doing that, but let's see what happens. Because, I had a Lightning Lane for Rise of the Resistance, and that was down. Okay.
Of course.
Of course it is. Fine. So we added Millennium Falcon. We stopped at Ronto Roasters because she was like, I just want a soda. And I was like, you know what? Fine. She's like, I want a Coke Zero. And she's like, with ice. I need the ice. Again, it's hot. So fine. And I love their breakfast Ronto Roaster. So we ate that. And then we tapped in to Smuggler's Run at 10:40, but Rise is back up. I was like, oh, well, this is exciting. And the Rise Lightning Lane says it's like, just go anytime. I was like, oh, okay. I had no experience, but that's fine. So she got to be a gunner. She was excellent. And again, as soon as we got off, she's like, I want to go again. And I was like, all right, hold your horses, girlfriend. We got lightning lanes to go. So we tapped into Rise at 11:01. We were on the pre-show at 11:02. We were in the ship by 11:20. And again, the child loves it. And I'm just so surprised because she wasn't into these big rides and now she's having a blast. And so it just kept making it really fun. So we got off of that. And then she was like, hey, I'm hungry. And we had initially had a reservation for Oga's at like 2:15. But when I was able to book all these lightning lanes, I realized that we were going to end up doing shows in the afternoon. And I didn't want to have to go from shows in the front of the park back to Oga's in the back of the park. So I moved our Oga's like earlier in the day. So when we got off of Rise, she said she was hungry. And I was like, there's no food at Oga's that she's going to eat. But Baseline Tap House was right there. So we ran over to Baseline Tap House and I got one of the pretzels for her. And we were those people that took a pretzel into Oga's and they were able to seat us. There's one like lower part of the bar that is probably like for someone that's handicapped, like to make it handicap accessible, but it's also 6-year-old accessible. Mm-hmm. And so she got the carbon freeze. She did not like the boba pearls, but she did get a kick out of like it bubbling the whole time. And she happily ate her pretzel. And I got the Yum Nub because mommy needed a drink at this point. Like we had been going for 4 days. We left Oga's at 12:05. And we went to our fast pass at Slinky Dog where we tapped in at 12:18 and we were on by 12:25. So like ultimately we do 10 rides this day. We are
3 on Slinky Dog.
3 on Slinky Dog, which is like her new favorite thing. Slinky Dog and Test Track are her new favorite rides, apparently, with Tiana's like a close third. So then when we got off of Slinky Dog, she's like, I want to do Millennium Falcon again and I want to be a pilot. And I said, okay. It's 50-minute wait. Are you cool with waiting for 50 minutes? And she said, yes. I said, all right, like your choice. That's it. This is your day. So if that's what you're comfortable with, I'm fine with it. I did have a frozen lightning lane for like 1:15. And I was, it is not going to work. So I modified that to be a little bit later. And so we got in line at 12:37 and we were into the pre-show by 12:59. So not at all the 50 minutes it said. And we met some fun, like young ladies, like 20 somethings in line that heard her say that she wanted to be a pilot this time. And the girls said, if you'll be in our, pilot, our pod, thank you, we'll let you be a pilot. And she was like, yes. And so when they said like, how many are in your party? Amelia said 4. And so we went with them and she did get to be a pilot and she had such a great time doing that. And we honestly, like I've done that ride probably 15 times. It was one of the better times I've ever had. She actually was a decent pilot. The only problem was she strategized with the girl because the girl was like, okay, one has to do left and right and one has to do up and down. She said, do you know your left from your right? And it was most of the time. So they decided to let her do the up and down one because that's a little easier, but she couldn't quite reach the whole way to push up. So she got a little help there. But we had a great time, especially because the first time we did it, the family that was there didn't know anything about it. And it was like a 6-year-old and a grandma as the pilots. And so this time, like these girls knew what they were doing. And so it was a really good time. So then we got off that at 1:15. We grabbed some gelato across the street from Baseline Tap House. And then our lightning lane for Frozen wasn't until like 2:00. And so it's, we still have some time. And we're walking past Star Tours and she looked at it and she's like, what's that? And I was like, another ride about going into space. And she's like, cool, I want to do that. And I like immediately booked a lightning lane and then tapped in like boom, boom. And so we got to do that. I got the lightning lane at 1:37. We tapped in at 1:38 and we were seated at 1:43. I also wrote down, it is currently 90 and feels like 97. We got off that at
September.
It's September.
Calm down temperature.
It was rough. But then we got off at 1:55 and we were able to tap right in for Frozen and we got like fantastic seats. I actually appreciated how they did the seating because they filled like up to just past the middle with everyone that was like there early. And then they filled in those late people from the other side because sometimes it can be tempting to make people move all the way down. And then it feels like, well, what was the benefit of me getting here early?
100% agree. I always feel like, the people that showed up later get the central seats, but
yeah,
I agree.
They did a really nice job there. So then we decided to like challenge our luck a little bit. So she also, by the way, has seen the Frozen show 3 times that I remember. She had no recollection of it, which says something about when you take a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-year-old, and now a 6-year-old. So we got out of Frozen at 2:59. The villain show started at 3:10 and we had to leave the park by 4, or at least I said we had to leave the park by 4. So I was like, girlfriend, we're going to book it like from the center all the way to the back of the park over there to make it. And so we got in line. The show is at 3:10. We got in line at 3:03 and they're like, we're full, but stand here in the standby line in case there's any open seats. And we're like, okay. And then we were one of the very last people they let in. We got in at 3:07 and she sat on my lap and she loved the villain show. I actually thought Frozen was better, but she loved it. And she said it was because she already knew how Frozen ended and she didn't know how it was going to end for villains. And so I thought that was great. Like it was a really fun way to kind of get to end our park time. And then she said she was hungry. We mobile ordered from Rosie's All-American Cafe because the kid wanted a hot dog and I got like a kid's cheeseburger. And then she asked if we could go into the shops. And I will admit, I've never gone in the shops in Hollywood Studios. Like, it's just not a thing. And she got to pick out a pin. Oh, she got into pin trading. And I have some pins on my park bag. And so a couple of times she like went up and was like trading pins. She found a lucky 101 Dalmatian pin for her sister because her big sister always says she's going to have a dog and name it Lucky. So she got to get a pin. And then she found a Stitch Poppet keychain. And for my slightly neurospicy children, we're big on fidget toys and things that we can put on our backpacks to keep our hands busy. And that was it. So we walked out at 4:04 and we were back at the resort by 4:20 and had our luggage in hand, and we were on our way to the airport at 4:25.
Yeah, that's fantastic timing.
Yeah.
You fit a lot in. We rarely hear about people doing full park days before heading to the airport. Usually it's just a few things here and there.
Yeah. Well, if she had not been so into those rides, I don't think so. Like initially, I had a whole list of all the characters and what times they were going to be because I didn't think she was going to like that many rides. And then, so I was really surprised that like Millennium Falcon wasn't even on my list and became like her thing, and to do Slinky Dog 3 times. And yeah, so we did a lot.
This brings up a couple points that I feel like are pretty common, which is you don't know who your kid's going to be every trip. And
Yep.
she was much into more things than you expected. And that's just where she's at now. And can't remember what the other thing is that I was going to say. But that is the biggest one. Is like she was just into different things than you expected. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is that when you're the planner, even with adults, you don't always know what they're going to be into because they don't know what's possible.
Yeah.
So it can be really hard when you're the planner and they see, oh, I want to do that. And you're like, if you just told me that, we could have made reservations, So
Correct.
I feel like you were able to work with that this time because she wanted to do things multiple times that you wouldn't have expected. And she didn't want to do princesses as much. So the planning came in handy for all kinds of reasons.
It did. And it was nice to know, like, to get almost, it's not a throwaway, but to get a less competitive lightning lane first thing in the morning so that then you can book like a second one that is a higher tier, like at Epcot right away. Or to know not to have your lightning lanes first thing in the morning to capitalize on those lower wait times right in the morning, and then let them be piled up between like 11 and 1 or 10:30 and 1 so that you can churn a little bit more. Also, I don't think I said this earlier, but she loved all-star music. Like I don't know what I was expecting. It certainly was never a resort at the top of my list. She thought it was wonderful. She loved like all the little touches of like the music statues, and she was like imitating the guy playing there's one big thing of a guy playing the saxophone, and she was like, trying to do that. And I think if I did that, like if I took her again, I would have no problem staying at an all-star. Like we really didn't have that much time at the resort. And for the amount of money that it saved us to be able to stay an extra day, I think it was 100% worth it.
Yeah. And I think kids don't care about the same things.
They really don't.
It's colorful. It's fun. It had a food court with things that she liked. She could go swimming.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing was, and I think the reason I say that maybe this was my favorite trip was because I could focus on her so much. Number one, Standby Skipper was phenomenal. Like I didn't feel like I was constantly having to look at the app or refresh. Like maybe once or twice I looked to see if I could modify Test Track earlier. But other than that, it wasn't like the old days where I had to keep refreshing. And I've never gotten to do a trip with just one kid with Standby Skipper. So that was really cool that it could just keep pulling things for me. And my husband would be happy to never go back to a Disney park. His anxiety is such that he does not like those kinds of crowds. And my anxiety is managed at Disney. I think the Disney magic makes it okay. But I said to him when I came back, I was like, if you're cool, I'll just alternate taking the girls like every other year, just one person at a time. And you never have to go. And he's like, deal, done. I was like, okay, we can make that happen.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I feel like a lot of people think the whole family goes or we don't, but you can really do whatever you want.
Yeah. I've gone alone for Disney races. Like I've been there for the Disney half with like a friend or two. I've taken my older daughter when she was 4. I've gone with my sister. We did do a whole family trip, and Daniel like acted like he was having a good time. Just I think for the sake of the kids, but like if you ask him like separately, did he enjoy it? The answer is going to be no. He just didn't like how many people there were. And it was a lot of overstimulation. And so I get that. And so I think, yeah, it was nice to have the Disney magic as a family, but that just might not be something that's in the cards for us. And that let me really focus on what this kid wanted to do at that time. And that's also totally fine. So
Yeah. And it seems like it works for you.
Yeah, it worked out great. You know what? Chaperone was playing at Forest Hill Stadium down the street from us. Anna had a great time listening to the Chaperone concert, like outside with her dad. So it was fine that we weren't around. So yeah. What
Yeah.
other questions do you have for me?
I'm wondering, when you just said that you're going to alternate with the kids one-on-one, does that mean every year you'll take one, or does that mean in 2 years you think you might?
Well, let's see, probably like 18 months from now. The first couple of times that I went with them, we went in January, and January was a really nice time to go. It is so much quieter and cooler than
not 95 degrees.
not 95 degrees, that would be a really nice time to go. So maybe, 15 months from now, I'll take her big sister because she will never have done Tron. I'm sure maybe the new Villains thing will be open and she'll be almost 12 by then. So it'll be like something new that she'll get to do. So nothing's planned yet, but I think we have very much decided that it can be a one-on-one thing that mommy really loves. And I'm a good Disney planner, and Daniel has no interest in going back, which is fine.
Yeah. Perfect. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love it. And I hope more people consider it, especially if the whole family is not interested in going together. This is another way to go about it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
all right. Thanks for sharing, Karla.
You're welcome.
That was both conversations I had with Karla. I hope you enjoyed it. We did continue talking on Patreon, including her insight on why she really likes taking her kids when they are around the age of 5 or so. To listen to that, head to Patreon now, and you can continue the conversation there. I think that'll wrap up this episode of WDW Prep To Go. For more information, please check the show notes in your podcast app or head to the website, wdwprepschool.com. Click on podcast at the top, scroll down to episode 482. Until next time, I will see you on the site.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience and their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.